Hi, everybody. This is Saad. Um, I've been fortunate enough, knock on wood, to have almost all beautiful and positive interactions with people on the street. Only once in the past have I had a threatening interaction. Well, earlier today, I was walking in a historically very, very heavy Jewish area. I was walking with one of our children and my wife, and we're walking on the street, obviously a family thing. A guy approaches us, looks at me, then looks at my daughter who's wearing two conspicuous Star of David. Uh, and as he passes by us to enter a store, he goes, "Free Palestine," and you could see sort of the the facial cues that he is exhibiting, and then he quickly runs into the place. He didn't threaten us directly, but the point that I want to make is I see every day thousands and thousands of people who are, for example, Muslim. They're wearing the hijab, they're wearing this, they're wearing that. I've often critiqued many tenets of Islam, yet I've never had the reflex to approach someone and hound them individually, right? They're individuals. They might be fully supportive of all of the values that I support. They might actually be an ally, who knows? But this person is sufficiently emboldened in Montreal in 2025. When you're saying free Palestine, what are you saying? Free of what? Free of beavers? Free of uh, lemurs? Free of a particular invasive plant? Or is it free Palestine of Jews? Where I have tons of family. So that could be a threatening message, yes? If we're charitable, we're going to say, no, no, he's just talking about geopolitics. But of course, that's not what is typically intended. And by the way, he didn't look Muslim. He looked like a Canadian. I could have imagined that he could have been Jewish. But that guy felt sufficiently emboldened, felt sufficiently hateful that he didn't say, this guy is walking with his family, just walking by, smiling, having a good day. It was necessary for him to signal uh, his viewpoints. And again, it always happens like this. First, you keep quiet when there aren't enough of you that share those views. Then you become a bit more emboldened. Then more emboldened. Then you either have to flee if you're Jewish, or you submit, or you're killed. People have to read the signals. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have had that happen. 20 years ago, this wouldn't have happened. And no, it's not all related to October 7th. And now remember that October 7th happened because since 2005, nothing had happened in that region. Nothing, no complete peace. And then some people decided to go in and butcher 1,200 people. We can debate whether the retaliation has been excessive, not excessive enough, whether they're in the right, whether they're in the wrong. But decent people would say, this guy is walking with his family, with his young child. This is not a time for me to accost him in this manner. But that gentleman decided to. Take care, everybody.